today we are standing with the Ghanaian people. Adongo was talking about patriotism. Mr. Speaker, whilst Dr. Atto-Forson was speaking, I saw members on their side applauding Dr. Atto-Forson. Mr. Speaker, I am excited this particular debate is being beamed live for everybody to see. Every Ghanaian has seen that the majority is jubilating over an increment of taxes. Yes. Mr. Speaker, in this house, the key people who argued, the key people who argued in this house, Dr. Atto-Forson, my very good brother John Jinapo, and Mr. Adongo, the same people who were speaking against taxes are today the same people laying papers, introducing statements, and making arguments for new taxes. Mr. Speaker, let me put the issues in perspective. Thank you. In 2024, e-levy alone, which they opposed vehemently, raked in close to about 2 billion Ghana cedis, Mr. Speaker. Yes. In 2024, 2 billion. Today, Dr. Atto-Forson presented to us a fiscal impact analysis. And Mr. Speaker, Dr. Atto-Forson intends to rake in 5.7 billion Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, last year, 5.3 billion liters of fuel was sold. We anticipate that there will be an increment of about 20%, which will lead us to about 8.5 billion. Mr. Speaker, they intend to impose 1 Ghana cedis on each liter. On each liter. That is what we are being told in this house. Mr. Speaker, they intend to impose 1 cedis on each liter. A gallon is about 4 cedis 50 pesos. Mr. Speaker, your guess is as good as mine. Mr. Speaker, let me just put this thing in perspective. Just this year, during the budget, Dr. Atto-Forson presented this energy sector levy. Mr. Speaker, petrol was selling at 95 pesos. Per this new bill, Mr. Speaker, there is going to be an increment of 105%. Diesel is going to go up by 103%. Naphtha is going to go up by 105%. Mr. Speaker, marine fuel is going to go up by 400%. Mr. Speaker, the shocking part is that marine gas. Nothing can stop me from talking about the good news. I am wondering how Kastian will explain this to his constituents. When they buy 1 gallon of fuel to go to the farm, I am wondering how Kastian will explain to his constituents. Mr. Speaker, just last month, PURC increased electricity by 14.7%. Water was increased by 4.02%. Mr. Speaker, here we are again. Less than one month, they are back here to increase the taxes again. Mr. Speaker, is that what they promised the people of Ghana? Is that what levy, Dumzo levy, E-levy Pro Max, E-levy Pro Max. That is what you are introducing to the House. But Mr. Speaker, let me say again that we, the minority, the mighty minority, we stand with the Ghanaian people, and we are going to reject this bill in all its forms. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Within a minute of the rule. I was clear when I put the question that the ayes have it. And accordingly, I ruled that the ayes have it. The Honorable Deputy Whip called for a head count. And the procedure for the head count is stated in Standing Order 152. Let me read. The Speaker shall take a vote.
Welcome back to the conversation, and we are digging right in as the minority staged that walkout. But, well, the energy sector levy bill was passed anyway. So that means when MFR goes to the fuel pump in just a bit, and we're going to pay an extra 1 Ghana cedi on a litre of fuel. While we were having the news review, I saw someone send in a comment and say, you know, on the back of the gains we've made as well from the fuel pricing from 17, 16, it hit 20 something for diesel at a point. We shouldn't be complaining. But, you know, Oliver Twist, we always want more. Let's usher in Isaac Kofi Ajay. He's our in-house, I call him our in-house government statistician.
Absolutely. The guy has all the numbers.
What can you tell us about this levy and what it means for us?
Well, if you are waking up and you possibly didn't hear what happened yesterday, there is a new levy in town. It's not relatively new, but I mean, that, tax handle has been revised. And in terms of the quantum of, levies you pay, has actually gone up by 1 Ghana cedis. And that's what we are going to analyze for you. And it's going to be on the ex-pump price of fuel, or the diesel, the petrol you buy at the pumps. That's where this new tax is going to settle. Already, I mean, Ghanaians are complaining that, look, we are not at fair value yet. And so we don't see the reason why a revision in terms of upward revision should come around this time. Now, the key question is, many have said that, look, the finance minister, when he was reading the 2025 budget, didn't indicate this in the 2025 budget, but maybe you didn't take notice. That was in the budget where the finance minister requested or told the Speaker of Parliament that he will be submitting 10 acts for review, and the Energy Sector Levy Act 2015 was part of those 10 levies that he, or 10 tax handles that he sought, reviews to. And maybe you didn't know that the entire ESLA package, what we call ESLA, is what we are talking about. And ESLA, we know, is the baby of former Finance Minister Seth Terkper, and he actually trained, his deputy, Dr. Atufos, who is now the current Finance Minister. And he is saying that, look, let's go back, or let's revisit ESLA. And under ESLA, we should know that currently, when it was introduced, there were about 4 taxes under ESLA. Now we are talking about 6 taxes under you know, the new ESLA that we have. And one of them is going to be revised. That is the energy sector, you know, debt recovery levy. That is what we are going to analyze. And look, if you buy fuel today, every liter of fuel you buy, whether petrol or diesel, you pay 10 taxes, as you can see on the smart wall. 10 different taxes and levies on every fuel that you buy. Many have said that the tax handles alone is about 40% of the price that we pay. And if the price continues to drop, that means that the component of tax handle in terms of the percentage terms will actually increase. Now, if you look at these 10 taxes that we are talking about and levies, it means that every liter that you buy, on the average, you pay around 3 cedis, 26 pesos as taxes. And look, this law has been passed, which means that instead of 3 cedis, 26 pesos, you're going to pay somewhere around 4 cedis, 26 pesos. And many have said that, why should it be on a liter, but not on the gallon? I mean, if you used to buy 40 liters, it means that every 40 liter that you buy, you pay about 40 Ghana cedis as taxes. Now, I mean, this is the breakdown. Just try and understand this because it's law now. The GRA will start implementing, MPA will start implementing it very soon. This is where it's going to be. There is one that we were definitely not expecting the government to actually put this tax on, and that's LPG. LPG will stay the same, but fuel, in terms of petrol and diesel, will move. Petrol, for instance, will move from that tax handle 95 pesos to 1 cedi, 95 pesos. Diesel will also move from 93 pesos to 1 cedi, 93 pesos. And this is a tax handle that we are actually talking about. And so if you really want to know how much you'll be paying, this is what we've summarized for you on the smart wall. What will not be affected will be LPG, but if you buy diesel or petrol, you should expect. Now, I mean, the finance minister spoke, gave reasons why they are actually calling for this review, have actually initiated this review, or this law has been passed. And this is because they've been looking at this data and saying that, look, if you go on the international market, crude prices are actually falling, where we've moved from somewhere around, some time ago it was around $100 per barrel. Now we've moved to about $64, $61, or $65 per barrel. And that is not at fair value yet. We are far away from the normal hundreds we used to pay. And so they expect fuel prices or crude prices to come down. And they're definitely saying that, look, this windfall that we are all experiencing, give us 1 cedi out of that. We're trying to look at Goil's, prices. And this is how Goil's prices have actually fared since February 2024 to date. And we know there's a revision where it's between 11 cedis, 77 pesos, and maybe 12 cedis, 50 pesos. But what we are trying to tell you is that fuel prices have been very high before, but now the government is saying that because of the appreciation of the cedi, we are seeing fuel prices going down. And so if you used to buy from Goil, from beginning of the year, you've saved about 2 cedis, 47 pesos. And that's government is saying that the gains we've already had, we are taking 1 cedi out of it. We are expecting that the prices should go down significantly from the 12 cedis or below 11 cedis, maybe in the next pricing window. But the key question is, why do you impose a levy when the data shows that we are not at fair value yet? Look, if you look at this chart, what you will see is that from 2022 to 2024, there was actually an outlier in terms of the rate at which fuel prices were going up in the country. That's when we had the global crisis, and Ghana itself had its economic crisis in 2022, 2023, called for an IMF program and all of that. You can see how fuel prices actually move. This is from the Energy Commission, and this data shows you that we are currently not at fair value. When we say fair value, what do we mean? If you look at this chart, we should be expecting fuel prices to be around 8 cedis, 50 pesos. So we are not around 8 cedis, 50 pesos now. So why are we still around 12 cedis and government wants to impose a new tax? That is a question people are asking. That if you look at this chart, fair value should be around 8 cedis, 50 pesos. We are not there yet. So why don't you wait for us to get to single digits? Let's say 8 cedis or 8 cedis, 50 pesos before you start talking about new taxes. If you impose new taxes, but what if we don't get to fair value? what are you going to do to the consumer? Are you going to take that tax from the price bill? And that's one of the questions that people are asking. But, I mean, there was another reason given by the finance minister, and he's been explaining that it's not because of the legacy debt, but it's important to point out that this is how much we are owing as energy sector debt. $3.1 billion US. Very, very huge. And just about 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, the president indicated that energy sector debt was around 2.5 billion. Now the finance minister has given an update saying that 3.1 billion. So within a very short period of time, and it's even as of March 2025, it could be more. And the government has been complaining about how much it pays as shortfalls to support the energy sector. In 2024 alone, shortfalls was around $1.46 billion that government had to pay, around 26 or 30 billion Ghana cedis, so that we all get lights. I mean, that is where government doesn't want to go. It's saying that if you look at the current generation capacity of the country, we've moved from hydro. Now about 70% of our generation mix comes from thermal, which means that every year we need to look for money to buy fuel. And if you look at the Energy Commission's report in terms of the energy sector outlook, the average has been around $1.2 billion to buy fuel or to power the plant. And that's where the finance minister is saying that, look, the government cannot be paying for that fuel that we use to power the thermal plant. So why don't we, have a levy that will cater for that? But the question is, these levies will be in cedis. So if the dollar has really fallen to the cedi, then people are asking, then it means that, ECG's cost is going to reduce because ECG pays IPPs and fuel suppliers about $50 million every month. That $50 million, its value in cedi has been reduced. So why do we need another tax if the value or the cost that ECG is paying to IPPs in terms of fuel has reduced? Why don't we start talking about consolidation right now and not taxes? And I mean, we are looking at ESLA. I mean, we made mention of ESLA at the beginning of the presentation that this new tax, this new levy that we are talking about is not a new levy. I mean, the tax, the ESLA tax has about 6 different tax handles under it, and the energy sector debt recovery levy is one of them. Since 2017, we've been trying to check how much has government actually collected from ESLA, which is supposed to save us from some of these energy sector crisis at this point that we are in. ESLA was introduced somewhere 2015, 2016. And if you do the math from 2017 to 2024, in fact, we've collected about 29.2 billion Ghana cedis as ESLA, inflows. So why have we not been able to solve our energy sector crisis with the ESLA inflows? The answer is in the next slide. This is because if you look at the energy sector recovery levy, the energy sector debt recovery levy, which has now been, modified a bit, this is how much we get from that side. It's about, on average, $2.5 billion every year. And this year, we are targeting $3.1 billion at the end of 2025. Then you say that if this is the inflow, compared to how much we are paying as shortfalls, then definitely this cannot close the gap that we are looking for. So possibly the reason why government has decided to revise the levy by 1 cedi. Because if you look at this chart, although inflows have been coming in, and since 2017 we've been able to rake in some 29 billion Ghana cedis, that alone cannot afford a year's shortfall, because we are going, or actually entering into paying shortfalls around $36 billion every year. And the World Bank has said that, look, if we continue to do business as usual in our energy sector, shortfalls could hit $8 billion by 2025, 2026. So maybe the government has looked at all this data and is saying that, then why don't we introduce, or why don't we vary the levy a bit, so that, I mean, although we are collecting ESLA and we are collecting the energy sector debt recovery levy, why don't we vary it so that the inflows could be more to actually close the shortfalls? Because if you do the math, the shortfalls is actually averaging around 30 billion Ghana cedis every year. And there's money that government would have to cough up almost every year to keep our lights on. But we've been collecting so many energy levies. But the question is, where is the money? Why have we not been able to solve the energy sector crisis? And the answer is simple. It's because of the fluctuations we've seen in the forex market. So we may be collecting more, but when the CD misbehave, ECG's cost would have to increase. So another question, if the CD is appreciating and ECG cost is expected to come down, and in terms of how much we pay to IPPs and fuel suppliers, $50 million almost every month, that money in CDs has been reduced. So why do we need another levy? But it's not a new levy. It's been there. It's under the ESLA. And if you didn't see it in the budget, know that it was actually in the budget. The finance minister requested that Parliament allows him to make a revision to 10 acts. And the ESLA, or the Energy Sector Levy Act, was one of them.
Kofi, thank you for walking us through that. We'll come back to you in a bit. Let's just quickly acknowledge our guests as well. Duncan Amwa is Executive Director of COPEC. He joins the conversation. Duncan, good morning.
Good morning, my brother. Good morning to your viewers and your panel.
It's been a while. Let me also bring in Kojo Poku, Energy Analyst. Kojo, good morning. Kojo Poku, are you there? Please unmute for me.
Yes, I'm here, Ben. How are you?
I am well. I hope you are too.
Well, I'm very well, just that I'm very disappointed a little. So I hope I can address that when I have the time to address the disappointment.
All right. I'll come to you in a bit. Duncan, what are your quick reflections on this add-on? It is not new, technically. We have the ESLA that we've been dealing with, and it was in the budget, as has been mentioned. But are you disappointed with the shape it has taken, 1 CD per litre, adding on to what we already have?
If you take the politically initiated or the politically biased, every Ghanaian would be shocked, would be disappointed by this, especially if you have a government that has worked so hard within the past few months to bring down, the effects, volatilities, and the boiling or the bullish bit. And then the same government haven't worked to bring down fuel prices, goes back, say, I'm adding on to it. It is simply just been a 4% thing. But for me, it is not even just the emotion bit of that is worrying. It is also the fact that time and time again, data has shown that being inefficient and expecting someone to always pay for it does not yield any solution at all. If you recall, in 2016, December 1st, we went to Parliament for energy sector levy. That for us at the time was clear up the energy sector debt. What we use per month that
Duncan, just move a little for me.
$2.2 billion debt.
Duncan Amwa, can you hear me, please?
Parliament even asked for ESLA to be introduced on fuel altogether, for which we have done about 26 billion relative. As an year, has not been able to clear the debt. The debt clearly is accumulating at a faster rate, and we cannot all pretend that all is well within the power space, particularly coming on the back of reports of 82 different bank accounts that ECG had to operate or was operating. How efficiently can one even monitor 10 different accounts? Talk more, 82. You would hit issues of containers in 1,000 boxes, and we cannot even have the money to pay for duty to clear them, for which they end up staying at the port for months, for years. Clearly, the inefficiencies, the mismanagement, the corruption, the bad boardroom practices, that has, contributed to where we are today is not being blamed. Rather, the trotro driver, the taxi driver, the ordinary Ghanaian is being asked to go and pay more. And what pains me the most, as a Ghanaian, every 2 weeks, if I don't consume 1,000 Ghana cedis of my money will go into power purchase. Yet, I am told that that is not enough at all. And that there's a debt overhang. We are accumulating debt. So when I go to the pumps to buy fuel, I should be paying now almost 2 Ghana cedis every liter to pay for people's inefficiencies, mismanagement, and corrupt tendencies. No single individual has been surcharged. Nobody has been put forward to return whatever loot that could have been done or made. Nobody is asked any question. Rather, the ordinary person out there, the trotro driver out there, the Okada guy out there, is being told to pay 2 Ghana cedis now because we have an inefficient power sector that is crippling all of us, and we would all have to, bring the shoulders to the wheel. I think that we are simply applying the wrong medicine to the sickness that we should probably properly diagnose. We cannot continue on this trajectory. If the ESLA couldn't defray anything over 10 years, the numbers your anchor man crunched would simply tell you that this cannot defray what we are accumulating daily, weekly, or monthly. So we still back to the same square. Something ought to give, and I think that the inefficiencies would need to deal with them rather than adding more fuel to the fire and expecting that fire would subside. We'll continue to have these kinds of problems if we are not looking at solving the bleeding, but simply just adding more money to the system, hoping that we'll be able to clear our debt. It might not happen anytime soon.
MFL will be coming in shortly, but let me just add this. When you look at the memorandum to the bill, it talks about, you've mentioned inefficiencies. It talks about support of payment of energy sector shortfalls, which we know of. We have a $3.1 billion debt overhang, reduce energy sector legacy debts, and stabilize power. Then it talks about the fact that the challenges in the sector are enormous, emanating from debt shortfalls, insufficient gas supply, and inefficiencies, and also what is owed power producers, state-owned enterprises, and fuel suppliers. We wouldn't want something like this to be slapped on. But the justifications that have been given, the CD has appreciated by quite a bit. Inflation is slightly lower. Fuel prices have fallen. The question then is there any way of justifying, in any way, this add-on of 1 Ghana cedi, especially as it was in the budget? Is there any way of defending it?
I'll be surprised of any further attempts to rationalize this 1 Ghana cedi or 100 Ghana pesos that we are slapping. I have heard, people defending, saying that, we've worked to bring down price. If there's a challenge, need to add things, you should allow. Fair point. What is that something? Okay, if you add 1 Ghana cedi to 460 million liters a month consumption, what you are getting is 460 million Ghana dollar equivalent 46 million Ghana dollars, right? So if you do the entire, you are doing around 550 million US, right? At over 6, you would need over 6 years, right, of this constant return without a dollar further added to your debt to be able to clear whatever debt that you probably have on your day at 3 points. You would need charge the Ghanaian for 6 good years at the 100 Ghana or 1 Ghana extra or cedis federally fairly for 6. And granted that you are not adding single dollar further. So, my brother, in the sense of that that, look, we are ring-fencing debt, whatever bad management practices, whatever power losses that have been caged, whatever procurement breaches that have been caged, all the bad things that affected the sector, put, a hold on them. We are not going to generate $1 extra, debt overhang. Even at that, we are looking at 6 years. So if that argument or justification holds, maybe we should have done 2 Ghana or 3 Ghana, though we can 1 or 3 years, and be able to let it, if that is what we wanted. But the problem is, we are adding on for them. As the faster increase,
Duncan Amwa, your connection is slightly challenging. So just hold for me, hold for us, reposition yourself. We'll bring in Kojo Poku and we'll take it from the MFR.
Well, thank you, Benjamin. So let's go to Kojo Poku. I mean, you already said that you're disappointed. I'm quite curious, but what is it exactly you're disappointed? Maybe we'll start from that point.
Yes, please, thank you. And I would like you to give me the time to basically talk about that. Your gentleman in the studio who did the numbers is the one I'm disappointed in. He's a young man that I know means well, but I think he should spend time with some of us in the energy sector to understand the space better. Let me correct a few things that he got wrong. The ESLA, when it was first introduced, had 2 components, the downstream debt and the power sector debt. People keep saying that the ESLA over time, nobody knows where the money has gone. When the ESLA was first introduced, it has cleared all the downstream debt. There was before BDC forest losses, which Bank of Ghana was worried. And the ESLA has cleared that. So today, as we speak, the energy sector debt does not include any downstream debt. It's only the power sector debt that is left. So at least let's correct those things. It's never true that all the 3.9 billion or the $29 billion collected, 29 billion Ghana cedis collected, nobody knows where that money has gone.
I'm certain that was not particularly his
exactly.
words.
I never said that we cannot find the money.
My brother,
could you please let him explain himself and then you can come in.
29 billion cedis collected, we don't know where that money has gone.
Okay, at least he's here. Let's have him.
Asking if we had ESLA, and ESLA is supposed to clear our energy sector debt and save us from some of these crises, where has the money gone in terms of helping us?
Then I'm telling you, so then let me explain to you where the money has gone.
Yes, so you can come in with your explanation, but if you put across, Kojo, let me speak. If you put across that what I put out there was wrong, I said from 2017 to 2024, we had inflows from ESLA around $29 billion. This is supposed to solve our energy sector crisis. So if ESLA is indeed solved, let me land. If ESLA has indeed solved our energy sector crisis, why do we need 1 cedi per liter again to solve another crisis? Okay, remember that the debt, remember that the debt you are talking about is legacy debt. It's not debt from yesterday, it's legacy debt, Kojo. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say.
We heard, my brother, we heard what you said. I am correcting something you said. I'm telling you that.
I don't think that you're correcting anything.
Kofi, hold for me.
Kofi, you did not make the point that the 29 billion, some has paid the downstream debt. You did not make that point. So I am educating that if you ask the question that the 29 billion that has been collected from 2017 to now, where has that money gone? I'm educating that the 29 billion that has been collected, a chunk of that money has been used to pay the downstream debt that existed.
That can be an add-on, not a correction. That can be an add-on, not a correction.
Okay, so
you have to get it right.
Move on. I have made my point.
Exactly. You have to move on.
The second point that you made that need corrected is that there are only 8 taxes on the build-up, not 10. There are only 8 taxes on the build-up, not 10. Okay? Now, the other point that I want to say is that if you are looking at the energy sector, this 1 cedi that is coming on is not to solve any doomsday in the energy sector. It is as a result of the government shaving 30% of its expense. So all these things that we keep talking about, oh, the dollar has gone down, Kojo Poku has been very consistent that with the dollar going down, and the city appreciates it, government cannot fund its budget. And it's with the certificate of emergency the government introduced yesterday to try and raise 1 billion. And my brother Duncan, the government is not collecting 1 cedi. The government is collecting 2 cedis. As per the budget, they introduced 95 pesos. With this new addition, it is 1.95 on petrol, 1.93 on diesel. So the total collection in the year is 1 billion Ghana cedis, $1 billion that the government is collecting per year. You want Ghanaians to pay an extra 1 billion Ghana cedis every year through petroleum taxes. Already we are paying electricity. There should be some problem in the Ministry of Finance. Because when the minister read his budget, he clearly knew what his projections were. He read the budget using 15.4. Now he has lost 30% of his revenue and he needed money. So this certificate of urgency yesterday has got nothing to do with the energy sector. It was just government taxing the Ghanaians to basically run its budget. So let's not anybody try to make this thing an energy sector conversation.
I have a quick question for you, Kojo. You say it is government trying to run its budget. The energy sector debt that we have, is it part of our economic baggage? Is it part of our budget? Is it part of... Kojo, let me land. When someone is asking a question, let the person land, and then you can come through with your response. What is being done? All these loopholes that must be plugged, whether or not it's going to solve the situation, because as the permutation stands, will not clear that debt this year or the next year. But is it, by extension, to resolve our economic challenges, part of which the energy sector debt is a part of, or not?
Okay, so there's 2 things that needs to happen. 1, the government needs to come out and tell us that he has ring-fenced that debt from the ECG. So then the energy sector in the ECG, see, today as we speak, we keep talking about the energy sector indebtedness in the energy sector. What Honorable Forson came to do in Parliament was to get GRA to collect money. That goes to Consolidated Fund. That goes to Ministry of Finance. The person who pays the energy sector indebtedness is ECG. So when the IPPs are owed, the person that has contract with the IPPs is ECG. So what the government should tell us today is that he is ring-fencing all the energy sector indebtedness to MOF, Ministry of Finance. So then we know that there is no indebtedness in the energy sector. So that conversation goes away. Unless somebody comes and tells us that that money is not for the energy sector, it is for taxes to run the government. Because today, if the Honorable Jenapo wants money to buy fuel, he has to go to Ministry of Finance and apply to the Ministry of Finance for money. If we are saying that this 1 cedi, which is now being collected, is to clear the energy sector indebtedness, then it will be treated like the way we did the price stabilization recovery levy. It will be put in a specified fund and be accountable to Parliament how that money is disbursed. Until we do that, it is not for the energy sector. When money goes into Consolidated Fund, it's for the Ministry of Finance to spend it as he wish. So if we want to solve the energy sector indebted, now another point that we should make, they keep saying that the energy sector indebtedness is 3.1 billion as at March. You have been collecting 95 pesos a litre since you read the budget. Where has that money gone? What have we reduced out of the money that exists? At this rate, if you are going to collect 2 cedis on every litre, as it is now in the law, as passed by Parliament yesterday, in every year, you will rake in $1 billion. In 2 years, you will have cleared all the debt in the energy sector. Now, will Ghanaians have to stop paying that high electricity prices because the energy sector indebtedness is no more, because we are paying something on the electricity prices, which is the losses that we have in the energy sector on the electricity prices that we are paying. So the issue I want Ghanaians to understand is that that exercise yesterday in Parliament was not for the energy sector, because from the majority leader, he said that we are introducing one cedi on a litre to stop doom so. Ben, you and I agree, and you've said this several times, that there's no doom so. So if there's no doom so, why does somebody need 1 cedi to square and solve something that doesn't exist? Honorable John Jenapo has told us several times through his PRO that there's no doom so. Why do we need 1 cedi to solve something that doesn't exist?
Right, Kojo, please hang in there. We'll come back for some clarity on some of the things that you have said. And a little later, we'll also go on the phone and engage Dr. Kwabena Donkor, former energy minister. Right now, though, let's crunch the numbers a lot more and even pull out some data. Kofi is still here. Kofi.
Yes. Kojo sought to do some sort of corrections. And this is the data that we have from the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies. And it talks about price outlook June 1st, effective June 1st, 2025. And I want us to put that on the screens. And I want Kojo to count the number of taxes he sees there. Is it 8 or 10, Kojo?
And I was going to ask him. I was going to ask him to enumerate on the 8.
Okay, let me read them out to you. There are 8 taxes. They are energy sector shortfall and debt repayment levy, road fund levy,
2,
energy fund levy,
3,
special petroleum tax,
4,
primary distribution margin,
5,
cost margin,
6,
fuel margin,
7.
Fuel market margin, then UPPF. Anything else is not on there.
It's not what?
It's 8. Those that I have read out to you, I've read 8 margins up to you as per the build-up of the prices we are paying today. I'm going to repeat them. Energy sector shortfall and debt repayment levy, road fund levy.
No, the question is which ones are you taking out of this 10 you see on the screen?
My brother, I am telling you that what I am reading out to you.
No, it's not about what you are reading out to me. I have showed you a data that shows 10 taxes. I am asking you which 2 are you taking out so we know which one you think are not taxes or levies. But there are 10 on the screen. How many can you count?
Boss, my brother, please listen to me. I am giving you an official position. As from the MPA build-up of what we are paying today, I am telling you what is in there. If you have something on that board that I do not read out, it does not exist.
This is from the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, and their source is from the MPA.
No, it can't be, but I am reading out. My brother, you can read, listen to what I'm reading out to you. Energy sector shortfall debt.
You don't have to go over all of them again, Kojo, for the sake of time.
So let me, anything else on that board is wrong.
Let me just clarify for you. So you're saying that what the OMCs have provided from the MPA, the last 2 there, and please put it back on the screen so I can read the last 2. You are talking about the distribution. Kojo, can you please relax so we have this conversation? Please relax. Thank you. Now, there's the distribution compensation margin that you see there, which you failed to read.
It's not a tax.
Oh, my word.
There are margins for the distributors. It's not a tax.
What was the caption?
LPG administrative cost is not a tax.
What's the caption? What's the caption for the table? What's the caption for the table?
My brother, I am telling not this table.
Okay, Kojo. Thank you very much. I think we have to move on. You are sticking to your guns, so thank you very much, Kojo. You are digging your heels in. Let's bring
Well, still stay with us, though. We've got former Energy Minister Dr. Kwabena Donkor joining us. Doc, thank you for joining us this morning. I'm certain that you've been following the conversation from Parliament all the way till the show this morning. I'll take your reactions on number of taxes or levies that were implemented as of last year or even the years before currently, and whether it is 8 or 10, and even subsequently this 1 liter per fuel that we're going to be paying for. Your reactions, please.
Well, let me make a distinction between a margin and a levy.
Okay.
The margins do not go to government. They go to industry players. The levies go to government. For example, we have the primary distribution margin. It is technical does not go to the consolidated fund. It goes to the industry. So that is the major difference. Maybe Kojo was trying to explain that, but probably it didn't come true. So it's the levies that go to government through the consolidated fund or designated fund. My position on the 1 city is that as a people, we must, first of all, accept the facts. We can debate implementation, we can debate timing, we can debate methodologies. But the fact is that even using the figure Kojo quoted, the $3.1 billion legacy debt, it is simplistic to assume that the 1 cedi in 2 years, as Kojo was trying to push, must eliminate that debt. We have a major issue that we are not tackling, and which I hope the government will be tackling anytime soon, is that as of today, we are under recovering costs in the power sector. When you under recover costs, you are piling up debt. So first of all, we must eliminate the existing legacy debt. 2 weeks ago, the Minister for Finance had to find about $50 million for car park immediately. Other than that, they were threatening that they couldn't service their loans. Remember, project finance is about equity and loan. The norm is that equity may be 30%, the loan will be 70%. So these IPPs and other players, all those involved in, they have to service their loans as well. So the Minister of Finance had to cough up money for them because we owe them so much. So we have a situation where we have the legacy debt, 3.1, as stated, but we are also under recovering costs. So we have to do 2 things. The 1 cedi, I believe, will go towards the under recovery. Will go towards both the under recovery and wiping off the legacy debt. So my expectation is that government will hit hard on the industry to reduce costs. We have to contain costs, and we also have to drive down efficiency. It has to be two-pronged. Whilst we do the financial engineering to take away the legacy debt, you see, if you look at what Ken Ofori-Atta attempted doing, when he collateralized the inflows on the debt from ESLA, unfortunately, he did not use all the monies received to service the debt. There is evidence that it was also used for other administrative governments. That did not help us. But more importantly, steps were not taken to drive up efficiency and drive down costs. For us to recover costs in any business, when you under recover costs, you will invariably be piling up future debt. It is for that reason that Ministry of Finance has had to purchase fuel for the sector. If we were covering costs, there will not be the need for the Ministry of Finance to purchase fuel, because fuel would have been purchased arise from the revenues of the industry. So we need to tackle two. I am in full support of the 1 cedi, but that will not be enough. We also have to look at the price buildup. Within the price buildup, there must be some savings. And let me put this on record. I believe the UPPF, for example, should go down. There should be some saving out of UPPF. Because the biggest single component, the biggest single operating expense on transportation is fuel. So since fuel prices have come down and the private sector, Ghana Private Road Transport Union and other transport organizations have come up with a 15% reduction on the back of the reduced fuel prices. The UPPF, which is essentially for transportation, both the UPPF and the primary distribution margin must also come down. So there should be some savings within the existing price buildup. Then we also have to look at some of the administrative margins. Do we still have to maintain that quantum in the light of falling inflation, in the light of falling petroleum prices? If we do that, I believe there can be some savings in the existing price build-up to offset the 1 cedi. But the Ministry of Finance, by our constitutional construct, even if the whole 1 cedi was to come from the price build-up, the Minister of Finance is still obliged by our construct to come to Parliament for this.
Oh, Doug, I don't know if I lost you or if you're still on, but finally, maybe before we let you go would be that. And so in short, you support this 1 cedi per litre directive or levy, unlike others who are asking for a consolidation of the existing levies.
I stated that I support it. However, it should not be in isolation.
Okay.
It should go with a conscious attempt to drive down costs, both in the fuel sector and in the power sector. It should also go with a conscious plan to drive up efficiency. And I also stated that within the existing price build-up, there are savings that can be made, particularly on UPPF, the Uniform Petroleum Pricing Fund, and the private distribution margin. There are savings that can be made because these are essentially transport-based. And because the cost of fuel has come down, a part of the savings should go to absorb the 1 cedi. But the Minister of Finance is still obliged by our constitutional construct to come to Parliament in a levy. The suggestion to consolidate the levy, it's a good one, but it will not immediately solve any problem.
Okay.
It will just be administratively more efficient.
Okay. All right.
But, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Doc. Before we go back to Kojo Poku, you wanted to do some clarification on some of that. Or you want to take a breather and we'll go back?
Kojo is still insisting that there are 8.
Which Doc has just also been given some clarity that margins go to the oil marketing company.
But you see, MFI, what we are trying to put across is that when you buy a liter of fuel, there are 10 taxes, margins, or levies, if you want to put it, that you pay. And this, if you count all of them, there are 10 before even the actual price of the product is added. That is the conversation we are having, not the nomenclature. Nomenclature is also very important. But what we are trying to say is that these 10 taxes, levies, or margins that you pay is around 3 cedis, 26 pesos. And that forms about 40% of the fuel price you pay or the export price you pay. Now, because of the reduction, that percentage may even come down. But Kojo is, he is still insisting that because they are not called taxes or levies, maybe, the consumer will ask, Kojo, who is actually paying for these margins? These margins are being paid by consumers. So that's why we actually put all of them together and call them taxes, levies, or margins.
And Kofi, point made. I've seen some interesting comments on the back of all of this, which I'm not going to read anyway, but I think that is where the clarity stands. The build-up of the 10, do they affect what in the end, when I go to the pump, I'm going to pay? That is the bottom line. All 10 of them will reflect. 8 of them will go to government, the other 2 to the OMCs. Yeah. When I go and buy fuel, I'm not asking which component is going to government, which component is going to the OMC. All I'm going to do is fork out that money and pay it. But let me come to you, Duncan Amwa, on some of these developments. Having listened to the former minister and these dynamics, what do you think the approach should be moving forward? Because, like you said, we could have decided then we are making it 3 cedis or even 4 cedis so that we can catch up. But like the former minister said, they are trying to address a hydra-headed problem, deal with the under-recovery, and also help tackle the energy sector debt. It's not something we're going to be able to tackle in a year or even 2. What's your reaction?
So what is happening is this, right? You have a situation where the government concedes that it has a problem with the power sector and something ought to be done. But that which ought to be done is being made to seem as though it is simply financial and that there's no challenge as far as the setup or the power sector distribution challenges is concerned. And so I indicated that in 2015, when we went to Parliament to ask for ESLA, these were the very excuses we had. These were the very justifications we had put forward, to the extent that there's a debt that we would need to be able to pay up and make the sector more efficient. We would need to be able to get the suppliers at the time, the BDCs and the power producers, to be paid. Collection of ESLA for 10 years, whatever we've applied it to, has demonstrated that the collection alone or the taxing of the people resolve the challenges you have. And so it's surprising that for 10 years, we have collected ESLA, proceeds of which we say we have used some to probably defray the BDC legacy debt fair and well. We've not been able to accumulate further within the petroleum sector simply because it is deregulated. One wonders how we continue to want to regulate the ECG and still act as though we are on top of our game. And so if there's a debt, the Ghanaian people should pay for it. But like the former power minister said, you are dealing with a situation where under recoveries continue to drag you, right? So until somebody comes out to tell me this is what we are doing to resolve under recoveries, which creates in its wake the debt, the mountain debt or the crippling debt, I will not be convinced that just coming out to collect monies at the pumps any further, bodes well or gives you any solution on its own. I am not convinced. Again, I insist that if we want to really and truly clear whatever debt, if we are ring fencing that debt, we should be able to at least do some 2-3 Ghana cedis a liter. But a situation where we think, okay, let's go and add something, we go and add something. You crunch the numbers and you are not seeing your way forward. Clearly, it's just about collecting money, maybe like Ojo is trying to say, to refinance, our budget. That will be understood. But if you really want to tackle the power sector issues, right, you would need that Hydra-headed solution. You would need that solution that says that for our under recoveries, we have decided to probably assign this to that. We have decided to deploy some further technology to be able to tell how much power we are losing, the transmission losses that is occasioned, how much power is also stolen, how much some of the foreign companies in Ghana would consume on their meters, right? And then get, officials to come in and cannibalize those meters, right? Running into millions of cedis. Then the rest of us who are law-abiding and want to pay our debt, we are told when you go to the pumps also, you must be paying for electricity. That cannot continue. 10 years is how long ESLA has lasted. 10 years after which the 2.2 billion initial debt anticipated to be covered by ESLA is now 3.1. And yes, like he said, we still have under recoveries. We still have bad management practices within the sector that continues to drag all of us, where we import containers running into thousands, and there's no plan to even clear them, and nobody is held accountable. How long would this continue? I do not know. But again, let's have a proper and a thorough conversation. If you want to resolve the issues within the power sector, I do not believe mere collecting of money will resolve it. Otherwise, we would have resolved it within the past 10 years, and we wouldn't be here at all.
All right, hold for us, Duncan Amwa. We'll be wrapping the conversation in a bit. Kojo Poku, your take on the discussion so far?
Well, the quick one, does your guy in the studio want to say something and apologize to me before I point out the error that he had just posted on screen? Does he want to apologize?
What would that be? We're moderating this here.
Him. He should apologize to me because he has corrected the mistake he made. He has posted it on screen, so he should apologize.
I don't get Kojo.
Kojo, explain to me. Kofi, let me moderate this.
Is there something he wants to apologize for?
Not at all.
Okay. But
he says there's nothing he wants to apologize for.
Kojo, to be fair, we moderate the conversation here.
He says there's nothing he wants to apologize for. Please move the conversation forward.
So let me point it out. The gas components that he put it on the fuel that made it 10, he has now moved it to gas. So now, if you add the levies and taxes, it's 8. He just posted it on screen. So I think it's only fair that he post it on screen and apologize.
What exactly has changed?
You lost me, yeah.
Okay, I let him post, when Duncan was speaking, let him post the thing that he posted on screen. Let him post it again.
He's not posting it himself as standing here, if you know the dynamics of...
Can the studio post it? You remember that I said there were only 8 components. He says there were 10. He had added taxes and stuff that were for gas under diesel and petrol. He has now moved it to gas. So now what he posted is only 8 components in petrol and diesel. So at least I'm right. So you should apologize.
I'm still standing here. I've not moved to the back room. I'm still here. I've not added anything.
Okay,
what I
so
showed is what I showed in the first place. I have nothing to apologize. I have nothing to apologize. I think you should rather apologize.
That's
All right, Kofi.
Let me make my submission.
Thank you very much for all your thoughts. We'd like to thank all of you gentlemen for joining the conversation. Duncan Amwa is Executive Secretary, Chamber of Petroleum Consumers. We had Kojo Poku, an energy analyst, and we also had a former power minister joining the conversation as well. We're grateful for your time. Do stick and stay with us. We'll be back with more action right here on the AM Show.